Okay, so the stimuli we're going to use for our task today might be quite familiar. We're basing this on where's Wally or where's Waldo, depending on where you are in the world. Might change what you refer to Wally as. But here we're looking for a character in the scene. We're actually looking for this guy right here next to me. I will circle him with my mouse there. So participants are presented with a set of images. We'll start with just one image though, and they have to navigate the scene with their mouse, and then they have to click on Wally when they find him. So let's see what this looks like in PsychoPy. Okay, so we're going to start in your PsychoPy builder view. This experiment itself is actually super duper simple. All we've got in here is an image component that is our scene in which Wally or Waldo is hidden. And we've got a mouse component that is going to be used for searching and finding Wally. Okay, so our image component is set to be of infinite duration. We're allowing participants as long as they want to find Wally. And similarly, our mouse component is also set to infinite duration. At the moment, it is set to end on any click. However, we might want to make it so that it only ends when we click on Wally. So maybe we'll do that as a next step. First of all, we're going to see if this works. Now, one small thing that you will want to make sure you have enabled is inside your experiment settings, under the screen tab, we of course want to make sure that the cursor is visible for our participants as they're navigating the screen in order to find Wally or Waldo. So in order to do that, we just want to make sure that we have enabled this show mouse field inside the experiment settings. So you can find that right here. Okay, so let's give our experiment a quick run. We're hoping that we should see an image. We should be able to end the image and the whole experiment in this case by clicking actually technically anywhere on the screen at the moment. Okay, so perfect. So here's our scene. I'm searching for Wally. There he is. And I'm clicking on it and that ends my experiment. Okay, so let's have a look at what the mouse data look like before we've turned on mouse tracking, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so I've opened up my data file from that very quick run through that I just did. It looks pretty empty at the moment, but that's because we have a single trial. So let me just zoom in on the data from that single trial. Okay, now I'm interested in data stored from the mouse. So in order to do that, I want to look at the column headers that have mouse in there. So I have mouse.started, which is just the time that my mouse component started relative to the beginning of the experiment. But importantly there, we've got mouse X, mouse Y, mouse left button, middle button, and mouse right button, okay? Now, this is just the data. Oh, we've also got mouse.time, okay? So this just corresponds to the X coordinate, the Y coordinate, where I clicked at the end of that task. If the left, middle, or right button was clicked, in this case I use the left mouse click, and also I've got a timestamp of that mouse response. Now each of these are enclosed within square brackets. That's because in theory we might want to record a number of mouse clicks in a trial, and then they would all be presented in a list within these square brackets. In this case, we've allowed a single mouse click to end the trial, okay? So that's why there's only one value inside these square brackets. Now for a mouse tracking experiment, we want a bit more information than this. We actually want the X and Y coordinates not only when the click occurred, but we also want the X and Y coordinates on a frame by frame basis as our participant is scanning around the scene. So let's see how we can turn that on inside our PsychoPy experiment. Okay, so we're back in our PsychoPy builder experiment, very, very simple. And in our mouse component, all we want to do is inside the data tab, change some of the settings about how data from the mouse component are being stored. So at the moment, we have save mouse state set to on click, which means we're only storing the X and Y coordinates on the click. Instead, let's change that to save every frame. And we're going to click OK, and then we're going to do one more run of our experiment. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to scan around the scene, lovely. There's Wally, I'm going to click on him. And now let's look at the data after we turned on that save every frame. Okay, so I've opened up my data file again, and I've gone straight to the mouse X and Y columns, okay? And this time you can see if I select mouse X, I actually get a large number of values in that cell that corresponds to the X and Y coordinates of the mouse movement as I'm navigating the scene. And to be honest with you, there you have it. That is how you make a mouse tracking experiment in PsychoPy. So perhaps we'll cover some more cool tips on what we could do with this, but for now, I'll leave it with you.